This is English shorthand dictation number 236 and the dictation speed is 160 words per minute. Ready? Start. Honorable members, I warmly welcome you all to the winter session of this August House. I am aware that all of you are keenly awaiting this session. I expect all of you to make the best out of this opportunity. All of us need to take note that we are meeting on the occasion of the historic 75th year of our independence and the 72nd year of adoption of the Constitution of India. There is a certain sobriety that is associated with such rare occasions, and I sincerely hope that all of us would be guided by the spirit of the momentous occasion as we proceed with this winter session. Only 4 days back, the 72nd Constitution Day was commemorated in the Central Hall of the Parliament, wherein our Constitution was adopted on 26th of November 1949. Since some of you were not present on that occasion, I would like to recall the spirit of that occasion. It was recalled that the Constitution was a culmination of dreams of the freedom fighters led by Mahatma Gandhi and other great sons and daughters of our motherland, and of the vision of the framers of the Constitution. That vision was scripted from out of the bitter experiences of the colonial rule and aspirations of a free and modern India. The people of India who gave us this Constitution chose democracy as an instrument for socio-political and economic transformation of the country in a peaceful manner. I would like to emphasize on this solemn occasion that we need to be guided by the philosophy and the provisions of the Constitution that determine the architecture of our democracy, instead of negating it on some pretext or the other. I urge all of you to make the best use of the 19 sittings scheduled during this session. Honorable members, the bitter and unpleasant experiences of the last monsoon session still continue to haunt most of us. About 70% of the valuable time of this August House was lost due to disruptions and incidents of unruly conduct of some members during the last session. Should we not draw right lessons from such unpleasant experiences that entail huge costs to the democracy, besides leaving a bad impression with the people of this country who have pinned high hopes on their elected representatives? I leave it to your wisdom, as this August House was conceived as an assembly of wise men who would let the heat and passion of the moment pass by before making the laws in a calm and serene atmosphere. The Treasury benches wanted a detailed inquiry into the conduct of some members during the final 2 days of the last session. I have tried to reach out to the leaders of various parties. Some of them made it clear that their members would not be a party to any such inquiry. Some leaders, however, expressed concern over the way the functioning of the House was derailed during the last session and condemned the unruly incidents. I was expecting and waiting for the leading lights of this August House to take lead in expressing their outrage over what had happened during the last session, with assurances of introspection and efforts to prevent recurrence of such incidents. Such assurances by all concerned would have helped me in appropriately handling the matter. Unfortunately, it was not to be. Honorable members, as it has now become customary, I would like to inform you all that the Parliamentary Standing Committee of Rajya Sabha have held a total of 21 meetings in the national capital since their reconstitution last month. They met for a total of 40 hours, which comes to an average duration of around 2 hours per meeting. The average duration slipped below 2 hours per meeting since the new committees held quite a few introductory meetings to discuss the agenda for future. However, the average attendance in these meetings has been 49%, and I have urged the chairman to reach out to the members. I am happy to see the efforts made in this regard, and I compliment the chairpersons and members of the committees for the same. Honorable members, this is the 4th full session of this House to be held under COVID-19 protocol, which is the same as during the previous session. It is because of the continuing challenge of the coronavirus and rising cases being reported from different parts of the world. Emerging new strains are posing a challenge and we should not lower the guard. This August House would be happy to take note that vaccination is going on at a fast pace in our country. Over 120 crore doses of vaccine have been administered, with 80% of the eligible people having got at least one dose. It is heartening to note that those who got the required 2 doses have outnumbered those who got only 1 dose recently. This House compliments the central government, the state governments, and all other stakeholders, including the medical staff and grassroots level workers, for their efforts in this regard. All of them deserve compliments. I urge upon all the members of Rajya Sabha to take up the campaign to see that everyone in their area is vaccinated. Honorable members, all of you would be aware that Sansad TV has been launched on 15th September this year by merging Rajya Sabha TV and Lok Sabha TV. I urge all of you to take active part in different programs of the channel and also provide feedback and suggestions on the content and quality of the programs. You can make good use of social media platform of Sansad TV to reach out to wider audience, especially in engaging the youth with various dimensions of our democracy and developmental efforts. Together, we have gone through the highs and lows during the 11 sessions over the last 4 years. It was a revealing experience for all of us. I look forward to a new normal marked by decency and decorum in the House. The way forward is to opt for dialogue and debate. Each one of you can raise any issue in an appropriate manner and express your point of view on any issue. I have already suggested yesterday that the government should try to reach out to the opposition to the maximum possible extent. It should take them into confidence regarding the legislation they intend to take, as also the rationale behind the legislation. The opposition must also take it in the right spirit, and then we must move on. There is a certain scope for democratic and parliamentary space with collective will. For doing so, we need to remind ourselves of the mandate of our sacred constitution and the responsibility cast upon us as the lawmakers under it. I look forward to manifestation of that spirit during this session. Honorable members may kindly take note that due to the pandemic, the normal seating arrangement with fixed seat and division numbers has been dispensed with in this session also, as was done in the previous session. Members will be seated in Rajya Sabha chamber and galleries. The numbers of seats for each party at both places have been fixed as per the numerical strength for allocation amongst the members by the respective parties. Seats earmarked for the parties or groups have already been communicated to their respective leaders. While every member seated in the Rajya Sabha chamber will have a microphone on the allotted seat, some of the members sitting in the galleries may not find the microphone on their seats. However, in order to facilitate their participation in proceedings, one seat in each gallery has been kept vacant, to which these members can come and speak when called by the chair. Members who are sitting in the galleries may first identify themselves by raising their hands before taking part in the discussion so that they could be identified easily. Honorable Chairman, sir, I wish to raise a very important procedural issue relating to suspension of 12 members of Rajya Sabha for the entire duration of the session. The moving of the motion and its adoption is a gross violation of rules of procedure regarding suspension of members provided under Rule 256. When the Honorable Minister was moving the motion, I sought to raise a point of order under the provisions of Rule 258 of the Rules of Procedure. As per the conventions, every member who seeks to raise a point of order has to be permitted by the chair to raise a point of order. Furthermore, when the leader of the opposition is seeking to raise a point of order, he has to be allowed to raise the same. I was not allowed to raise my point of order. This is a gross violation of the parliamentary conventions. As per Rule 256, for suspension of any member, there are 2 parameters which have to be adhered to. Firstly, the naming of the members by the chairman is required prior to the suspension. Only then the motion of suspension can be moved. More importantly, this procedure is relevant only on the date of occurrence of the alleged disregard or disorderly conduct of a member. However, yesterday, the motion for suspension of members was moved by the Minister of Parliamentary Affairs for their alleged disorderly conduct, which took place during the previous session.